Rest in peace to James. Like, Shira has nothing to prove. I think she truly is living her dream life. Yeah, so Shira 7 officially made the announcement that her husband James of 20 years sadly passed away due to health issues at the age of 70. I just think it's kind of crazy. I don't know, maybe I shouldn't be surprised because Shira is huge at this point. I think she has either 1 million or over 1 million probably followers at this point. Definitely cumulatively speaking across platforms, she has well over 1 million followers, but I remember I started following her when she was at around the 60K mark, and man, those were the days. Like, she was still very much underground at the time, but once people started to cut up her long lives and put her little clips on TikTok, I think that was kind of the beginning of the end in terms of, like, I don't know, it just became the sprinkle movement really was a wild horse that was unable to be reined in anymore once people started to like cut up and put all of her content on TikTok, to the point where even Shira herself, who originally said that she would never get on TikTok or go live on TikTok, she eventually had to acquiesce and do so, because if she didn't, then there would just continue to be other imposters, vultures, essentially using her content for profit on TikTok. So she had really no choice but to come on as Shira 7, the goddess herself, mother herself, to take back some of, her intellectual property essentially on TikTok. But yeah, the fact that like so many people tried to insinuate that she must be so happy now, or she must have been waiting for this because now she can be the rich widow that she always wanted to, is so indicative of, like, I guess the chasm between the OG followers of Shira, which I fall into that camp, and the newer followers, like the audience that only really knows her through TikTok and short form video. Because I'm like, if you have followed Shira since the beginning, there's no way that you would ever interpret this event of James's sad and untimely passing as like something that Shira was always waiting for and waiting to celebrate. Like, if you were an OG follower of hers, you would know that she's always had a very loving relationship with her husband, and it's a very, like, he's the father of her kids. They've been married for 20 years, together for a total of 23. And she herself has always said that she learned to grow in love with James, because he's the one that basically provided for her and retired her at 22, you guys, not 32, not 42. He retired, like, I think she was a mortician for all of about a year and a half before she met James, and then the rest is history. He retired her and she was able to basically go on YouTube and do her true calling, right? And even she says in her official announcement on TikTok, she was like, yeah, he was a great guy. I never had to pay a bill when I was with him, and he will be dearly missed. And he's the father of her children. Like, I just can't believe the disrespect of some of these newer commentators out here that weren't even with us since the beginning. By us, I mean like the entire Shira 7 community. She's also like, she's never been deceptive about her story. She's never presented herself as like the perfect, the ultimate example of a gold digging success story or anything. No, she always maintained that for herself. Like, yeah, if she really tried, she probably could have gotten a richer guy, a better lifestyle. But she said that for herself, she didn't really want to work that hard. So James came along. He was the best option to her at the time. He provides her with a comfortable enough lifestyle, like upper middle class. And she always has maintained that for her, that's enough, And as long as she is able to like sit on YouTube and live stream and do what she was meant to do, which is to be a teacher and a leader of women in this lifetime, that's her life's calling. She's known that from a very young age. So the fact that like she found it, the fact that she recognized the opportunity immediately when it came and took it with James, I don't know what's so hard to believe about that. I don't know why. Yeah, I just don't get it. I think it's one of those things where maybe you just had to have been there in the beginning, because she's always been kind of the same throughout the years, like the same, but evolved. I've loved seeing her growth throughout the years. I have loved watching her grow as a mother as well. Her daughters were like elementary school the time that she started, and then all the way up until now. I think they're getting ready to go off to college, which again, it's very bittersweet, because I feel like, as somebody who lost her dad as well not too long ago, and he was similar in age to James, just the idea of them having to go through college now and the rest of their adult lives without their father, that really I don't know. And I was like, I was so emotional this morning, and it wasn't specifically over the news of James's passing, but it was like something else that I wouldn't normally be this upset and cry this much over. But I think just all of this combined, also the fact that for some reason, so like yesterday and today, all of a sudden the temperature literally jumped 20 degrees Celsius. It went from literally like 2 degrees to 22 degrees Celsius. So the really sharp change in temperature and the change of season combined with like this news is just really hitting me. And like Shira never said that she doesn't love him, so I don't understand. I don't know. I think people on the internet are just weird, and like probably because she's always maintained the same persona. She's always had that like southern laid back charm to her, right? She's very classy. She's quick with the clapbacks, and she'll say something spicy once in a while. You know, especially if somebody really gets out of line on her lives, she knows how to like check them and put them in their place immediately. But she's never crossed a line in terms of like she's never had to resort to any particularly vulgar behavior, which you know, even I feel like there are times when, well, I wouldn't say that I slip up, but there's from time to time I do look back on some of my lives and I'm like, ooh, okay, I wish I exercised a little more composure and grace in that moment. And like, I don't, you know, I leave all of my lives and my videos up. I have nothing to hide and I'm not ashamed of it, but like there's still, I feel like I'm still working on myself in terms of a consistent presence and just way of being, not only online but in person as well. There's times where like, you know, it's tempting, right? Because you get tired as a human and you're just like, people piss you off and you just get tired of it and you're like, okay, what's the point of being polite and being the better person, being the classier person all the time? But then you remember, more often than not, Shira reminds me that like, be classy for yourself. It's not for anyone else, it's for yourself, so that when you look back on this in a month or a year, you don't cringe at your past self. Like that's the point of staying classy and non-emotional and non-reactive. That is one of the bigger lessons that she's taught me, which by the way has nothing to do with gold digging and sprinkle, right? I eat that content up like everyone else as well, but it's so much bigger than that in terms of like what she has done for the female collective. It's so much more than teaching women how to scam men, which is not her message at all. Actually, her message is for women to, do you guys hear that? I don't know if you guys can hear. It sounds like there's a crane moving scrap metal, like pushing scrap metal across the street. But I cannot imagine what could possibly sound like that at this hour outside. Oh my God. Okay. I love that she never had courses and spoke against them. Yes, me too. And like all things considered, she's still pretty accessible, you know, like she has about 1 million something subscribers, but even at this size, like not too long ago, I remember because I'm a content creator and I talk about similar issues sometimes, right? Or similar topics. So like I remember sometimes I'll make a reel or a TikTok, and if I tag her in it, more often than not, she will see it and she'll like it or leave a comment or something. Or if you leave a comment under her post, she'll like it and she'll acknowledge you even at her size. So I feel like she's never switched up on us. She's only human. So I remember there were a few stretches of time where I felt like I took a break from her because I felt like her tone was getting a little too condescending. Like there were stretches of time where she was a little more, it seemed, impatient with her audience than other times, which again, it's very human and it's totally normal, I think. And also people are very asinine and they ask the same stupid questions over and over in her lives. So it's actually a miracle that she managed to stay like so patient and consistent with everyone this whole time. She's been on YouTube for like what, 15 plus years at this point. So the fact that like, I know if it was me, I would have been snapped at some of these dumbass hoes and dudes on the internet. Like I would have been quit if I was her. But the fact that she has been out here doing her life's work day in and day out, she shows up like almost every single day and live streams for hours and hours and hours. This is literally her full-time job. This is her calling, you know? So no Shira slander will be tolerated in this house ever. And again, I don't think everything that she does is perfect, but that's another reason why we love her so much, because she's not perfect. She's just a work in progress like all of us. The only difference between her and a lot of her followers that can't seem to get with the program is that she chooses to wake up every single day and put her best foot forward, right? And that's been the core of her message this entire time, I feel like. And that's what James would want her and her daughters to continue doing anyway. So I don't see like what is the hoopla about. They're doing exactly what they're supposed to do. And it's honoring James at the same time, right? She looks younger now than she did 10 years ago. She really does. She really does look amazing. What else was I going to say? Yeah. Okay. The one thing that I really don't like, but it's not a big deal because I just skip the videos that she has them in, is that she collaborates with that Russell Hartley guy sometimes. And that guy is an obvious grifter. I think even to Shira herself, she's a smart lady. I'm sure she sees the grifter of it all in him. So that was the only part that kind of made me scratch my head. Like, why is she collaborating with this Russell Hartley guy so much? Probably because he brought in the views. So again, I don't knock it, you know, because she does also have to play the social media game to some extent. But I feel like I always felt like, okay, she doesn't need him though, because like even without her collaborations with him, if she just continued to do her live streams every day like she's been doing for the past 15 years, or if she could collaborate with like other better content creators, I just always scratched my head as to why she would pick somebody that has a visible history on the internet of like being red pill when he started out, and then he switched up to the sprinkle content when he figured out that it would get him more popularity and views from the female cohort. So that's a head scratcher. But anyway, again, she's not perfect and she doesn't have to do everything the way that I would necessarily do it, right? She is her own person. So and people wanted to, I guess, like, people were also upset with her because they felt that she wasn't sympathetic enough to that new trophy wife girl. That girl, I'm not sure I fully believe her story either in hindsight, because hindsight is 2020. So I'm not going to say anything because, you know, it's a very serious topic. You know, the new trophy wife, she followed Shira Seven's advice, got married to an older man, had a bunch of kids with him. And then apparently, allegedly, we don't know the actual facts of the story, but one or more of her kids was SA'd by what she claims was their biological father. But there have been conflicting reports, you know, from different sides of the story. I think his own niece also made a couple of videos speaking against the new trophy wife. And I have to say, okay, so I don't know what happened with the kids. I don't want to speak on that because that's a very serious topic. But I have to say that when I saw the new trophy wife go on a podcast shortly after the crisis all went down and she shut down her social media and everything, there were a lot of red flags in that interview for me personally. Yeah, I don't want to get into it because don't you also find it suspicious that like she threw up a GoFundMe and then basically just disappeared off the face of the earth after collecting on everyone's donations? I'm not saying that there's anything wrong with putting up a GoFundMe, but I don't know. It made me uncomfortable in hindsight because it's like, I don't have children. So again, you could argue that I don't have a say or I shouldn't be able to have an opinion on this, but I just can't imagine. I can't imagine finding out somebody was doing such heinous things to my child and then running to the internet over and over again to milk that story for views and attention, essentially. Though she may have genuinely needed the funds or, you know, the AdSense from that video, I Married a Monster, and I'm sure I'm not denying that, but I don't know. It just doesn't sit right with me that she publicized it so much because her kids are going to have to grow up and see that regardless. So I don't know. If it was me, it doesn't matter like how much my livelihood up until that point depended on social media. If I had kids, nothing would take precedence over the privacy and safety of my kids. You know what I mean? Anyway, and the trophy wife also was outed for, yeah, like the thing that really doesn't sit right with me, even disregarding the SA case with her children about the trophy wife, is that she was selling like really expensive coaching packages on her site, coaching other women on how to get a provider husband like hers. Meanwhile, he R-worded her 4 years into, or like 4 days. No, he R-worded her 4 times on their honeymoon or something. She put this in her video where she revealed that her kids were supposedly SA'd by their biological dad. And then they also had a history of, I guess, domestic dispute. So the fact that she was dealing with this very, very imperfect marriage with this older man and yet turning it around and selling a dream to her subscribers is very, very icky to me. So like, yes, okay, Shira also has records that are out there a long time ago. I guess there was like a dispute in her and James's marriage as well. But like you said, Shira never sold courses. She never used her platform as a way to grift or suck money out of her supporters. She always did it in my opinion, it was a it was in a very integrity filled way. She doesn't have to get online and live stream every day. That's a very tiring job. Actually, that's a full-time job. Like, I can't do it. You know, I've been trying to live stream as much as possible this year, but even God, when it goes past like 3-4 times a week for me, it starts to mess with my head. I'm not gonna lie to you. Like, there's something about it that it just feels, not only is it just so much labor, it takes so much out of you as well, because you literally have to be on every single second. It's not just like, okay, it's not like comparable to 4 hours in an office, for example. Like, when you're working in an office, you can take breaks, you can go to the bathroom, you go get a drink at the coffee machine, you know, you can kind of like goof around on YouTube for a couple minutes. You can take breaks between your work if you're at the office for a 4-hour shift. When you're live streaming, you are literally on and performing and interacting with your audience the entire time without break. So she does that like day after day after day, when she doesn't really have to. If she wanted to take the easy way out, she could have just packaged all of her information into very overpriced courses and books and stuff, which, you know, she has her own book, but again, it's just like a normal book price. I don't think can't be more than $10, right? So you know, I feel like out of all the people that have, you know, all the copycats that have come after her and everyone else who has flooded this sprinkle online space ever since, I feel like it's remarkable that she's been able to retain so much of her integrity, even as she has ballooned and grown up to over 1 million followers. Sometimes we gotta face life, and Shira can only give good advice. Exactly. She's one person. Like, she only has, you know, in the 3D realm right now, she only has this one life. She can't possibly like experience every single scenario. It's not possible for her to, she can't go back in time and like pick a better outcome for certain things. She can only move forward and show us by example how she's choosing every single day to better herself, right? So anyway, we love Shira in this house, and yeah, we ride at dawn for Shira. And I'm so sad. I feel like, I don't know. You know what it is? I just feel like sad and upset for her in a way. I know that she's a big girl and she can handle everything, but at the same time, it's like sometimes those people that we see as mother, as, you know, the all powerful, sometimes they need support most of all, right? I know she's going to be fine financially speaking. Like, I'm sure James set her up really well with the will and inheritance and whatnot. I'm sure her daughters are going to be fine. She herself has accumulated a lot of wealth through her own YouTube career and her various business ventures. So on that front, materially speaking, they'll be fine. But I just feel so like upset for her, just knowing that there's going to be this perceived vulnerability or vulnerable spot now that people are gonna think, okay, she doesn't have James there, she doesn't have a husband to cover her anymore, so now we can like poke at her. And, you know, I don't want her to go through that. And like, I know that again, she's a big girl, she's mother, she will handle it, and she's a veteran at the social media game, so she doesn't need me to worry about her. But I just feel mad because already the bottom feeders are coming out and using her pain and her family's tragedy as like a way to gain clout or just project their own insecurities on her. And I don't know, I hate that for her. And more importantly, I hate that for her daughters. I'm sure that like, that's the thing, like she can't even be vulnerable about this to more than a certain extent online. No matter how much she knows that her core audience is there to support her, she cannot be too vulnerable because she's such a big figure that people will inevitably use anything that she gives against her. So I just hate that for her and her whole family. And I know that like she's a great mother, so her number one concern is always going to be her two daughters. And I hate that they're going to be like, if anything could get to Shira or hurt Shira, it would be if people managed to hurt her daughters in this whole fiasco, if you know what I mean. But I think she has a big enough of a core following that we will all literally kill anyone who tries to do that, right? We're all in this together. We're all riding at dawn for Shira and her family. Okay. So yeah, she mourned long ago. She posted about James. Yeah. I mean, like, I don't expect her to put any details about the actual timeline of the thing. But even that, like I saw a girl, it was Queen Sovereign. That girl irks me. She's another one of those like newer sprinkle creators, and like, yeah, some of her content was good in the beginning, but I don't know, she put out this video about how like it wasn't bad mouthing Shira in any way, but she was saying that, oh, I had an inkling for a while that James has been gone for a while. Like I could just feel the shift in Shira's energy at a certain point, and it doesn't surprise me that James is dead. And I was just like, this is what I'm talking about. What is the point of posting something like that other than just to get more eyeballs on your content and your channel? Can't you come up with something original by yourself? If you claim to love Shira so much, why don't you follow her example and come up with your own original content? As far as I know, this is another amazing thing about Shira. She's never had to swagger jack or rip off of anyone else's content to pave her own way in this space. Like pretty much every single piece of content on her channel is original. It's her own thoughts. It's from her own studies, the books that she's read. Yeah, that girl, Queen Sovereign, was like, oh, I knew it all along. I could sense a shift. I think James has been gone for a while because I could sense it back when, her energy changed and whatnot. And I'm like, okay. Do you want a medal for that? Like, what is the point of this video? Is this helpful to Shira? Is this like paying your respects to Shira in any way? I don't know. People are so fucking weird. I don't understand. Like, this is why you guys got me, not you guys, but like, look what you made me do, social media. The state of social media these days, I love it, but I'm like losing the will and the passion even to want to do what it takes to succeed in this space. Cause I'm like, okay, the stakes keep getting higher and higher every year. People keep going to more and more insane lengths. They truly won't stop at anything. If I have to jump on every single train, if I can't even rest when one of my favorite creators that changed my life has to deliver, one of the saddest pieces of news that she's ever been through in her entire life, if I have to turn that into like hours and hours worth of content for myself just to survive in this space, then I don't know if I want to be a big creator. Like, if that's what I have to do to gain and retain hundreds of thousands of followers, I don't want to do that. I don't want to be that kind of a creator. I'll just stay in my little corner over here. Okay. And that's why I'm like going back and forth in my mind, considering, an arrangement with a gingerbread man, a real life gingerbread man these days. Cause I'm like, listen, what's worse, dealing with a gingerbread man or like completely compromising all of my values and morals and just throwing everything away for a click or a view and like having no sense of, decorum or respect or even just respect for like other people's ideas. I don't like how everybody just, whenever there's a trending topic or a trending catchphrase, everyone just jumps on the bandwagon and puts out like video essays and acts as if they are the ones that came up with this concept. And it's just like, maybe I should just sit down and deal with this gingerbread man and have him buy me stuff instead of trying to pop off on social media, because it feels icky to me. But anyway, rest in peace to James. I really enjoyed the few lives that she did with him. I could feel their energy as a married couple. It was very calm. It was very like, I could tell that, Shira has nothing to prove. I think she truly is living her dream life. She was telling the truth all along. She never was putting up a front or, pretending that things were better or worse than what they are. She was just very, very straightforward, but also keeping her privacy at the same time, which she has every right to. She did say that we should move countries if we needed to find providers, not a specific one, as opposed to blooming where we are planted. Oh yeah. I mean, like, I would move a country for a provider, but I'm not talking about anything close to that when it comes to gingerbread men. I'm just talking about like I've been, my top urge every time that I see his message in my inbox, which I still haven't put on read, by the way, because he gives me such an ick. But yeah, my biggest urge is always just to block him immediately, because I'm like, I would rather make my own money. I would rather just live stream 10 hours a day and collect AdSense money than to be associated with the gingerbread man. But I don't know, like, I'm so disgusted again by the fact that like the most successful creators these days are the ones that don't hold anything sacred, and they are the ones that are willing to jump on their platform and insert their voice everywhere on every single topic, even in places where they have no business giving their opinion. Like that girl that talked about how she knew James probably passed away a while ago. I was like, why did you need to say that? What makes you think that like we care or want to hear about that from you? That's so weird. Like, it's not even consequential. Yeah. So I was thinking, okay, if that's what I have to do to be a popular creator, to stay in the algorithm and to gain hundreds of thousands of subscribers, maybe I should just bite the bullet and talk to this gingerbread man and finesse him out of a couple of bucks. Between the two, I would rather feel the ick and just finesse a couple $100 that I need out of this gingerbread man than to disrespect Shira like that. You know what I mean? Like, I'll take the L. I'll take the L privately, just get my money, keep it moving. And I don't have to, I'm definitely not moving countries for this guy.